This is Tom with thecryptocrew.com, and today we're talking to Jonathan. Jonathan, let's start off by maybe telling us where you're at, what county and state.
Okay, I live in Letcher County, Kentucky.
And it's my understanding you've had a more than one sighting of a Bigfoot?
Yes, that's exactly right.
Well, let's start with your first encounter. Maybe what year or date that you seen it, and what actually you was doing and what you saw.
Well, I was 12 years old. I was squirrel hunting. I don't really know it was August. It was the third weekend in August or something like that. It was the second weekend of squirrel season. I do remember that. I was 12 years old. I was born 85, so I don't know what year it was, but anyway, I'd walked to the head of the holler where I live and went to the squirrel hunt zone. Well, on my way back out after nothing, I didn't kill nothing, didn't even see nothing. On my way back out, I got a strange feeling like something was following me. Well, the more I walked, the more I could hear it walk behind me. I turned around twice and didn't see nothing. Third time I turned around, didn't see nothing. The fourth time I turned around, though, it was standing there, probably about 7.5 foot tall, probably roughly 400 pounds, probably about 4 foot 6 across the shoulders, roughly, and I could see it plain as day. I could see its ape-like face, its ambidextrous thumbs. I couldn't see the lower half of its body because it was in the bushes, but I seen its torso. I could see its chest muscles, its biceps, its triceps. I could see all that muscle tone through all the hair. And at first I was a little scared and I was shaking real bad. And I guess it kind of knew that, so it just turned to walk away. And as it walked away, with its dark brown fur, it had a darker, like almost a black mane from the top of its head all the way down to the top of its buttocks. There's a muscular structure on its spine. You could see it between its shoulder blades, and it just kind of walked away, and I got scared, and I took off running. I came on back to the house and told everybody, but they all thought I was lying. And that was my first encounter. It lasted probably a minute and a half at most. Did
you ever return there to squirrel hunt anymore? Or?
Oh, yeah, I've squirrel hunted there every year since. But unfortunately, I've not seen it,
Yeah. Well, when was your next encounter? When did that happen?
Well, my next encounter was probably about 3 months after that. No, my bad, I'm sorry. It was the next summer. Because we was eating, me and my mom and one of my mom's friends was eating watermelon on her front porch. Well, we heard something walking through the woods in front of us on an old gas line road. Well, of course everything was green, and you couldn't hardly see, but you could see the road. And we kept saying, "What is it? What is it?" And my mom's friend Cleo said, "Look at that." She said, "That looks like big hairy feet." And I looked, and I said, "I told you I wasn't lying, Mom." And Mom, it blew mom's mind, because she seen it, But it had white feet, was the only thing that throwed us off. But they was big around as a 5-gallon bucket, what we could see. So I knew it wasn't a horse or a deer or nothing like that. And it just kind of walked on down the road, on out that gas road going up the mountain.
Was it the bottom of the feet that you were seeing that was white?
Yeah, well, not actually like the bottom part of its feet, but like from the mid shin down is what we saw, and we saw 2 of them. It was only on 2 legs, and we watched it walk about 50 yards through the woods before it started tripping up the mountain.
Well, what people I guess need to realize is that where we live in southeastern Kentucky area. It don't take just a little bit, and we're right in the mountains. I mean, you can see the mountains from our homes, and like you said, the gas line. They put these gas lines in, and they just push with a dozer, made a small road, and put the line in, and then they gone. They don't come back.
Yeah. They've never been back on that gas line there. They've never had to do nothing to it.
Yeah, that's the way it is here.
I'm sitting outside on my porch right now, and I can actually see the exact spot where I seen it at on that gas line road.
Huh. Well, I guess that was a pretty good one for your mom and them. She's probably believed you from there on out.
Yeah, she believed me from then on out.
Okay, and then you had a more recent sighting as well, right?
Yeah, it was in 2006. It was April. I can't remember the exact date. It was the second weekend of turkey season. I do know that for a fact. It was the second weekend of turkey season. And I'd already killed one gobbler, and I went back to the same spot the next weekend to kill me another. And as I had got crippled up in the mines in 2005, and my mom and dad and my wife and none of them would let me go by myself, so I had to take somebody with me. So my little cousin was willing to go because he wanted to learn how to turkey hunt. Well, he was about 17 at the time, I guess, and he was on the back of the four-wheeler with me, and as we rode through the mountains, we was getting closer to my spot to where I hunted at, and there's a big curve right before you get into the straight stretch where I turkey hunted, and I had to park as close as I could because I was on crutches. Well, when I popped around the curve to get ready to park the four-wheeler, I said, God almighty, what is that smell? And it just smelled like a mixture of sewer and like deer guts and I don't know, like a stinking raccoon or something. You know, I don't know. That's the best way I can describe that smell. And my little cousin there, he said, God almighty, did you pass gas? And I said, no. And I kind of giggled about it. And I said, no. I said, did you do it? And he laughed. He said, no, it wasn't me. And then as we come into that curve, there it stood. Well, it wasn't standing. It was kneeled down on one knee and had the other knee up and had its forearm on its leg, like the way we would sit. You know, it had 1 foot behind it, and it was kneeled down on one knee with its arm, and it was picking something up off the ground. Well, it seen us, and it stood up, and this one was a lighter color. It was like a real light brown color, and almost like the color of a deer. And it stood up, and it stood at about 8 foot, and it was about 4 foot broad, and I didn't see much of its face because where it had its head down, and as soon as it noticed where we was, it kind of stood up and took off to the side. But from its side view, it was probably 3 foot thick, like from its chest to its back. It was huge. It was monstrous. And it was just like I said, it was like 8 foot tall, and its shoulder span was probably 4 foot at least. And but it looked like it might have been an older one because instead of its face being like a gray color, its face was like a paler, like a yellowish pale color. And from what I seen, from the side, and his hands was about the same color, almost the color of human skin. And but a little bit more tannish than that, but it wasn't as gray as the other one. And as it turned to walk away and leap over the mountain, I could see the muscular structure in its legs, and it had massive, looked like it'd been a bodybuilder. And it had fur all the way, and it had longer fur from the knee down. And in the front of its leg, it had longer fur than what it did in the back. And in the back, it had huge calves and muscle tone. And its forearms was almost bald on the inside as it walked off, but it had longer hair on the other half, on the front half of the arm, top half of the arm, whatever you want to call it. And as it turned and walked and went over the hill, it had a white mane from the back of its neck, not all the way from the top of its head, but from the back of its neck down to its buttocks. And you could see the shape of the buttocks in it as it went over the hill. And we ran over there real quick, as fast as I could on crutches. And by the time I got over there, it was gone. And there was a semi-partial track there, but I didn't have my phone with me or nothing to take a picture of it. And it leaked over. And then when I come back, I came back after I hunted there. I finished my hunt out that day, and I came back to the house and got a camera and went back. When I come back, something had messed the track up. Looked like it come through and swept it with a broom. That's what it looked like. But it could have been turkey scratching there or something, I don't know.
Well, did
that
you?
That was my last encounter. Yeah.
Well, now you said it was kneeled down. Did you see anything like it might have been picking up nuts or anything like that?
Well, that's what I was kind of thinking. There's a few oak trees there that's flat, and I figured that it might have been gathering old acorns or something, because it was spring of the year. They hadn't failed yet, They hadn't even bloomed all the way yet, because acorns don't bloom till the fall. But I mean, it might have been picking up some old acorns, or something. I don't know. I didn't see distinctively. I know it had a handful of leaves, like it was going through them with its thumb, like digging for something. I don't know what it was eating, though.
And this was a spring turkey hunt, right?
Yeah, it was a spring turkey hunt. It was in the spring.
Well, you was talking about the hair kind of being thin. I wonder if I've always kind of thought
they shaded their winter coat or something.
That's kind of what I've always kind of thought.
I've always thought about that myself, because the deer, they get thicker in the winter and they start shedding it, in the springtime. And it could be the same way. It could be just like any other animal, just shedding its fur.
Well, that would help them stay alive in the wintertime too, because sometimes we get some pretty cold weather. It don't last long, but we have some pretty cold nights.
Yeah. Yeah, we've had some pretty cold nights here. But I live in the valley here, at the foothills of the Pine Mountains.
Would you say that these two creatures that you got the best look at, did you think they were male or female?
Well, both of them looked male to me. From what I could tell, because I didn't see no enlarged chest areas or. I would think that the female would be shorter. I don't think the female, just like in the human race, generally the females are shorter than the males and less bulky.
Yeah. And
so I was just assuming that they was males. So.
I was going to ask you also, have you found any other sign?
Back last year during no, it was this year during turkey season. I was at the top of a ridge at some property that my mama had left in ours, and I was on that property trying to do some turkey hunting, and I couldn't locate no turkeys whatsoever. So I went to the top of the ridge and wandered around. I went to the top of the ridge and wandered around, and I walked probably, I don't know, I guess it was probably 2,000 or 3,000 yards out the top of this ridge, just looking around. And as I started back off the hill, I got like on the next bench down from the main top, and it looked like feet print, but bigger. But you couldn't really tell much about it because where they had slid. But but I have heard moans and groans and stuff like that in the same areas.
No, never had a chance to record it or take any photos?
I never even think about it. I don't know why I don't take stuff to record stuff like that. But every now and then, you get back there and at dark or something, when you come down the woods, you can hear a coyote start. And then when the coyote starts, you hear the moan. And then sometimes you hear the moan before you hear the coyotes. And then I just leave. I don't know.
Well, this is an area you still hunt in this area, right?
Oh yeah, every day.
Yeah. Well, I had
chance I get.
I had, like I said, I had a buddy that was when he was young and squirrel hunting. He had killed.
What now?
I had a buddy that when he was young.
Yeah.
He was squirrel hunting and he had killed a squirrel and he was sitting down against a tree, if I remember correctly, and he heard something coming through the mountains and it was a white Bigfoot. And he ran off and left his squirrel pack and everything. But now he still hunts in that same area. As he got older, he went back.
Yeah.
But,
I've never changed my hunting spot because I've had such good success here.
Yeah.
This year I'm not doing all that great.
Well, have you got any bears in your area? I know they've got a bear hunting season this year.
Yeah, I've got bears in my area, and that's a big problem. I had to quit feeding. I feed almost year round on my property.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to quit feeding because of the bears, you know. So that's really slowed down my deer because they going somewhere else to feed. You know, they was dependent on me. My deer would stand and watch me fill up the feeders.
Well, now we never did have many bear in this area, but over the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, they've turned a bunch of them loose on us, and now we've got them, you know, all over the place.
We've got them horrible here. Where are you from?
I'm in southeastern Kentucky. I'm in like where Harlan and Bell County.
Oh yeah, I know where Harlan Bell County. You know where Letcher County is at, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're up above Cumberland there.
Do what?
I said you can go up through Cumberland and come over that way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, I worked for the Kentucky Forestry Division for a while, fighting the forest fires, and I've been over in that country fighting fires, wildland fires. And your guys' mountains and stuff are like ours. They're big, like Black Mountain and Little Black Mountain and stuff like that. They're big.
Yeah, they are. We've got some pretty big mountains around here.
Beautiful country, though. I mean, I don't know why anybody wouldn't like it around here other than we don't have any jobs.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. But was there anything else that you can tell us about the creatures, the color of the eyes or anything like that?
Well, they just look dark brown to me. You know, I didn't really take much time into looking at, I was just amazed when I seen them, So I didn't get real good detail, but I mean, from what I can remember, because it has been a few years ago, from what I remember, they just look real dark brown,
Well, did any of these Bigfoots make any kind of sound?
Well, the second one kind of groaned when he stood up. He went, ugh, and he just kind of walked off, But other than that,
no real sound then.
Yeah.
But, well, I've been around Bigfoot a few times, and it's kind of a scary thing. Yeah.
Oh, it tears you all to pieces at first because you don't know what to think.
Yeah, and I found tracks and things like that before.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's.
I'd love to do investigations.
Oh, I enjoy it. I wish I could get out more. Sometimes I get busy doing other things. I don't get to do as much as I'd like to, and a lot of times I have to go by myself, and which I guess that's okay. But I enjoy it.
Oh, I'd love to do something like that.
And well, if a person likes being outdoors, and I used to hunt, I used to coon hunt a lot. I never was much for deer hunt or anything like that, but I like to coon hunt. But so I kind of like being outside. Well, if you have any more activity or you see anything else, or you got any pictures or anything like that you'd like to share, make sure you contact me.
Oh, I will. I'm gonna put your number in my phone. That way I'll have it.
That'll be fine. Or not, you can always find me on usually on Facebook or something. So.
Yeah, that's fine. If I find any evidence or know of anything or hear anything else.
Yeah, if anybody else sees it.
Here, I tried to get a bunch of my buddies around here to investigate with me, but they're all too busy.
Well, a lot of times you tell people you've seen a Bigfoot and they just think you're a nut.
Yeah.
That's
usually the way it goes.
Yeah.
I need to be admitted to the psych ward.
Yeah, so what's wrong with you, buddy? But, yeah, anytime you get anything, just let me know. And
all right, I will. I sure will.
Because for sure, they're out there. I mean, there's a lot of fake stuff being put out, but they are real.
Yeah, there's a lot of real stuff, I wouldn't have never believed it if I hadn't seen it for myself,
Well, I think that's what it's going to take for a lot of people. I think they'll actually have to see one themselves.
Yeah, that's for sure. A lot of them are going to have to see it for themselves.
Well, I sure appreciate your time, and if you need anything else or something, just holler at me.
All right.
And
all right.
Maybe before long I'll get up that way.
Well, come on up. We'll go research some stuff.
Sounds like a plan.
All right.
I appreciate it.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.